All right, good morning. It is Thursday, February 13th, and for those of you who can't read the board because you're watching this video, I want you to open the very best file that you have. I used my first floor, my cottage first floor file. I did a save as, and I call it cottage B section. So if you see at the top, there's cottage B section. I've got a bunch of stuff on my screen because I started goofing around with it already. But yours, once you make a cottage B section, you're going to delete everything on your screen. And then I want you to go in and add these 5 layers. A section, very fine, fine, thin, medium, and wide. Blake, you just asked, how do you set the pen? You figured that one out? Okay. Yes, if you need a refresher, you're going to go up here into layer properties, and the little piece of paper with the sunshine is new layer, and then you name it. You change the color by clicking right on the box right here, and you get to pick whatever I tell you from that selection there. And then the pen width is over here under line weight. It goes to default, which coincidentally default is 0.25. So and you're going to change it right there. So give me those 5 new layers, and I'll bring that back. And I'm going to pause the recording while I let you do that. All right. We are starting a whole new concept today, and we're starting to work on the building section. I'm going to minimize this. This, as I turn this off, this is kind of sort of where we're going. So we have now, here's my cottage. Before you draw, when you first start working on a building, typically we draw the floor plans first because that's we're figuring out how the building's going to function, and we do that in floor plan. And so that's why we did the first floor, then we did the second floor and the basement. Now the next thing is the client always wants to know, what's the building going to look like? What's my cottage going to look like? And so we automatically want to start drawing the elevations. What does it look like from the street and the side yard and the backyard? But you can't figure out the elevations, what this is going to look like on all 4 sides, unless you know how tall it's going to be, where the roof slopes are, where the windows sit. All those questions have to be answered before you can draw the elevations. So the next thing, we go from floor plan to building section. Once I know how the building's going to be built, how tall, what the framing is, I can start figuring out where the floor, where the ground, where the roof edges are, all that kind of stuff. So that's why we build our building section first. Most buildings, I am giving you all this information. Happy birthday. In the real world, yes, you're welcome. In the real world, you would sort of make decisions to figure out how all these things go together. And if you're in Doug's class, he'll walk you through all those sort of decisions. For our purposes, this is a drafting class. I'm going to give you a lot of this stuff. The second thing I do when I draw a section is I draw my section the way the contractor builds the building. The contractor does not start on the roof. The contractor walks onto the site, digs a big hole, and starts at the foundation. So that's what we're going to do as well. The second really cool thing about this is, and I think I'm going to turn up these layers back on, is I am going to use my other drawings as helpers. The 3 floor plans that we've just drawn are going to help me draw this building section faster. So that's what we're going to do, and that process is called externally referencing. Before we do that, there's a bunch of questions that you guys looking at the drawing that Taylor just gave you is missing some information. That's what this little box says. Not all dimensions are on this drawing. We will discuss additional sizes in class. You have to add these yourself. So get out a pen or a pencil, and the first thing we're going to look at is this little guy right here, the footing. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can see where you are in the drawing. And you're going to, the first thing we're going to draw in a minute is the footing. That footing, you'll notice when I hover it over it, is a rectangle. He is, by code, a minimum of 20 inches wide by 8 inches tall. So go ahead and add those dimensions to that drawing in front of you. So this is 1 foot 8 is the same as 20 inches. So from here to here is 20 inches, from there to there is 8 inches. These are my CMUs, my concrete blocks. Each concrete block is 8 inches tall. What you're looking at is exactly this on the wall right here. So 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches. That's what you're looking at. So go ahead and add that dimension to the drawing as well. I'm going to complicate it in a minute, but for now you can just, so add the 8 by 1 foot 8, and then give yourself a little dimension that tells you that these lines are 8 inches apart. Taylor, are you back? There's extra, these draw, are there, who's got the extras? Because Ricia needs one. Susan over there. And do you have an extra, Ricia? Did he walk out of here? You don't have extra? I'll make him go make extras. So for Ricia, you have to kind of just follow along. I thought I made 22 of these. Anyway, the other thing I want to add is, okay, this is our cottage. This is the first floor. So if you were mowing the lawn, this is the grass. I'm going to go over to this side of the house. If you're mowing the lawn and you have to come in for a drink of water, this is the first floor. This is where you're going to stand. So this is the first floor line. And this is the section through the laundry room and the bathroom. This big opening through 2 floors is what? That's where our stair goes. So we will get into drawing our stairs. So for now, you're not going to worry about that. You just know that that's what's in that hole is the stair. Before I get there, this is my basement. The area underneath the bathroom and the laundry room, Taylor, we're short a couple of these plans. So if you would go make a couple copies. Oh, okay, thanks. So this is the basement slab. This is concrete. It is 4 inches thick. So go ahead and add that dimension down here. And then the last note I'm going to have you put on here. So Ricia is the one who's missing the plan, or is this little guy right here. So when I'm in the basement, we have 2 concrete block walls on either side, but that looks cold and unfinished to me. So we have added a 2x4 stud on either side with 1/2 inch of gypboard. So this little guy, this little rectangle in the bottom right here is a 2x4. How big is a 2x4? Trick question. There you go. A 2x4 stud is actually 3.5 by 1.5. 3.5 wide, 1.5 tall. So those are the 4 or 5 little dimensions you need for the moment to kind of get going. All right, I am going to jump back to my building section drawing that I have started without you. I'm going to do 2 quick things. Okay, Actually, I'm going to bring those two back so you can see what this is where we're going. See these two plans? This is my basement and that is my first floor. You'll notice that they're kind of fuzzy or hazy, and that tells me that they're what's called externally references. They are ghosts. This is not really my first floor plan. It is a ghost or a reference of my first floor plan. If I open up my first floor plan from my handy little OneDrive, because it works now, let's do this. Oh, that's my old one. Okay, here's my real first floor plan. Notice how much brighter it is. This is a really cool thing about why we're going to do this. So here's my floor plan. Let's say I go to a meeting with the client. You're back at the office. And I'm meeting with the client, and the client says, this bathroom is way too small. I want to add 2 feet to the side of the building. I am going to stretch my building, and now it's bigger. I'm going to put a little line through here so you can tell. I'm going to save this drawing. I'm going to go back to the drawing that my building section, and this is the old first floor plan. But if you look down in the lower right corner, I just got a little note that says, hey, your file has changed. Do you want to reload it? And I'll go, okay. And I reload it, and now there's the change. So what this does is, in an office, in a commercial office, there will be 3 or 4 of you working on the same project. Ricia, you're on the floor plans, and Tatiana, you're on the first floor plan, you're on the second floor plan, and Eric, you're on the basement plan. One of you makes a change to the drawing. So Oral, you're now doing the building section. You guys are in different rooms. You don't even sit next to each other. You're in different states. Eric makes a change to the basement plan. The other 3 of you have it X-referenced into your drawing. You get a little note in the corner that says, there's a change to the basement plan. Do you want to see it? You say yes, and you see Eric's change immediately. Instead of Eric having to remember to send you an email or call you and say, oh, I forgot to tell you we changed that. This is the beauty of the external reference. Things can change, and it automatically tells you about that. So that's why we're going to do this. I'm going to unchange what I just did. Hopefully that will go back. Save. All right, so I'm going to go to my building. The other thing that you're going to see as soon as you do this process is, if you go up to Properties, your layer properties, and you will see the layers you just made. You'll see the layers you've had on this plan and the layers you just made. In a minute, as soon as you X-reference, if you scroll down, you're going to see a ton more layers. So if you look on my drawing, open it up. Come on. All of a sudden, I've got all these weird little grayed out layers. Those are the layers that are coming in with my external reference. So there's my cottage first floor, and there's my basement. These are not layers you can draw on. They're just sitting there. You can turn them on and off, but you can't draw on them. You are going to draw on the layers that are bold and bright over here. As soon as I detach these references, those weird layers will go away. So they're only going to be in my drawing for the short amount of time where these guys sit in here. If you didn't follow that, it's okay. You'll get it as you start to play with external referencing. So I am going to detach my drawing, so you can do the same thing that I just did. And detach. Okay, so we're going to pretend I have nothing on my screen. The first thing I want everybody to do is go to layer 0 and draw yourself a line across your display area 50 feet long, anywhere in the middle of your screen, horizontally 50 feet long. if your line looks really, really small or really, really large, you're either zoomed in or zoomed out. So get it so it looks like about that size on your screen. The next number I'm going to give you, this is where I'm getting it. All right, so I'm going to turn all these layers on. Okay, this is the building section. The line I've just asked you to draw is going to be our first floor line right here. I'm going to ask you to offset down that line 7 foot 11 and a half inches. 7 foot 11 and a half inches. And that's going to give you the top of the basement. So I'm going to go back to my building section. O for offset, 7 foot 11.5. Enter. Pick my line and offset it down. So you should have 2 lines on your screen that are 50 feet long. The next thing I'm going to have you do is take the bottom line and offset it down 4 inches. That's going to be the thickness of our basement slab. So this is what you should have on your screen. All right, here comes the fun part. We are now going to externally reference in our basement floor plan. And you do that, the shortcut for externally referencing is XR. And you'll see the top thing that comes up, everybody in the business, we just call this XREF. We just XREF it in. Did you XREF it? Go get your XREF, detach your XREF. It's externally referencing. And the external means it's an external drawing completely different than what you're drawing in right now. So you're going to click XREF and you should get a dialog box. It generally jumps up on the left side of your screen. You can move it around if it gets in the way. At the top should be your file called Cottage B Section, and it's got the pretty little blue and yellow icon. That is the base drawing. If you look at the top of your screen, it's the same drawing. The one with the pretty icon is the exact drawing that you're in right now. That's your base drawing. This drawing says, what would you like to externally reference in? I'm going to go up here. If you see the little green arrows where we refresh, just to the left, there's a little piece of paper with a paper clip on it. You're going to attach. So left click on that one. And now you should be able to go find your basement plan. And I went to OneDrive. And there's my OneDrive MinSku. There's my folder for CAD. There's my Spring 20. There's my cottage plans, and there's my basement. So it took me 5 drawers to go find my basement plan, but that's the one I'm going to externally reference in. And I'm going to say open. And I'm not going to do anything else on this screen. I'm just going to say OK. And mine comes in attached to my cursor because I am lucky. I'm going to plunk it. If you don't see your basement, don't worry about it. Just click your cursor says specify the insertion point. Just click anywhere on your screen. And now Z enter E enter. So Z for zoom, enter, E for extents, enter, and you might see your basement plan way off in space. I want you to go get it and move it. So M for move, grab it, and move it somewhere on the screen so it's right above your 3 lines. I'm going to put mine right here. Mine came right above my lines because I've already been playing with it. How many people cannot see their basement plan? Okay, I'm going to hang on a second. Okay. As I said, if you X-referenced and nothing showed up, it's off in the distance. For fun, let's also X-reference your first floor in. So do the same process. If the dialog box is still up, you don't have to type XR. You can just go to the little piece of paper with the paper clip and go find your first floor plan and say OK. Again, I'm a lucky duck in that mine came right attached to my cursor. Yours might be way off in space, like I'll pretend I can't see mine. If it doesn't show up, I'm going to type Z for zoom. So it's Z, enter, E, enter. And now I can see that there it is. And what I want you to do is move that first floor. I could plunk it right on top of my basement and they would line up perfectly. I'm actually going to move my first floor up above my second floor so I can see things separately. So right absolutely straight above it. Use that green line to make sure that they're right above each other. So I've got my basement and my first floor in. You can now close this external reference dialog box. Now is a great time to save. Control S. And I'm going to switch to my A section medium layer. So everything I draw from now on is going to be green. There's right there. And just for fun, I'm going to check above my properties. Take a look above here and make sure everything says bilayer, bilayer, bilayer. Anybody in, whoa, bless you. Anybody in the room not have bilayer, bilayer, bilayer right here above properties? If you do not have bilayer, 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 if you got something weird in here, raise your hand. We'll fix that right now. Okay. I'm going to come down here and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my footing, which is this guy right here. So I am going to draw myself a rectangle that is 20 inches by 8 inches, and I'm just going to draw it way off in space. So REC for rectangle. Pull my hand over, 20 tab 8. I'm going to let this sit in the yard for a minute, and I am going to draw a line from my basement all the way down to the bottommost line right here. So L for line, and the line I'm going to come from, look at this. This is the beauty of an X reference. I can snap right to this, not the footing, but this guy right here. And I'm going to go all the way down, straight down. Make sure that your line is straight. There we go.
Do you have to explode it?
No, don't explode it.
We'll like explode my old drawing because it's all coming in as one.
Your basement should come in as one. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's cool. You're just going to, so hit escape to get out of there. So L for line.
Oh, when it'll
Enter.
snap from here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
okay.
Sure. All right. I want you to go ahead and move your footing. You're going to snap the upper left corner of your footing to the bottom of the line you just drew. So I'm just going to hit M for move. Whoops. M for move. M, enter. I'm going to select my footing. Enter. Pick the upper left corner and left click and move it over and just snap it right on there. This is a temporary spot because it's not in the right spot yet. I'm going to move it left 4 inches. That's what you should have. I actually could have, if I take this line, this green line, and I copy them over to the edge of my footing from my plan, guess what lines up? Same spot. Perfect.
Should we do that?
Nope, I'm just showing you. Okay. What I'd like you to do now, if you look at the drawing you have right now, so you have the footing drawn. There are 3 footings on this project, 2 low because we have a full basement under the main part of the house. This guy over here is a crawl space. So this footing is in a weird spot. So we'll come back to him. I want you to you're going to copy this footing over here. And we're going to do that. We're going to find this line by extending it from the floor plan above. So I'm going back to my building section. I'm just going to copy this line that I've already got. He's right there on the outside of the foundation wall. I'm going to move him over, hover over, so the divider wall between my basement and my crawl space, I want to snap to the right line, the outside. I can hover over this corner, slide my hand down, and there it goes. That is the outside of my other footing. So now I'm going to come back. I see you, Yang. And I'm going to copy this footing. I'll do the same thing, that one, and now I'm going to move him over 4 inches. Okay, Yang?
So when I'm trying to draw my line straight, it's not like connecting to like the point where I want it to connect to. It just keeps connecting to like the midpoint.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. It was doing that yesterday. I think I might have like my setting might be
Up here. So if you open your object snaps, do you have extension?
No, I don't.
Click, turn that one on.
Okay.
And then we'll see if it happens.
Do I need the
And
intersection?
go ahead. What ends up happening if you have too many of these clicked, it snaps everywhere. But I think for our purposes now, you'll be happier with this. So what I just did with Yang, because he's having a problem getting his line to snap where he wants it to. It wants to snap to the midpoint of one of these things. So we went into his object snap. So it's the down arrow next to the rectangle there. And we made sure that we turned on intersection and extension. Oh, let's unclick insertion. That one we'll turn off. So I'm going to draw with 5 of these on. Endpoint, midpoint, center, intersection, extension. Those are the ones I'm going to turn on. And we'll see if that makes your life better. Okay. Oral. Yep. Okay. I am going to I'm going to show you how to draw the concrete masonry units, and then Oral, I'm going to come over and solve your problem. So if you look at, and here's where I'm going to complicate this a little. So you've got your footing in. The next thing the contractor is going to do is put the concrete blocks in. This person drew this as just, they took a line and they just offset it 8 inches, 8 inches, 8 inches. We are better than that. We are smarter than that. And we're going to do it in a better way. So I'm going to go back to my building section. I'm going back to the yard, and I'm going to draw my concrete block over here. My concrete block is a rectangle that is horizontally 11 5/8 and vertically 8 inches for the moment. So rectangle. I'm going to draw my rectangle. 11.625. Tab 8, and the 8 is just for the moment. All right. This concrete block is not really 8 inches tall. He is 7 5/8 plus a little 3/8 inch mortar joint, which is, if you look at that wall past Sadie's head, you can see those mortar joints. We are going to switch to layer A, section fine. I'm going to draw a line on the bottom of my concrete block, and I'm going to move it up 3/8 of an inch. section very fine. Now I'm going to take that guy and I'm going to move him into place, and you're going to build 11 courses of block for your basement wall. So you're going to go to the very bottom of the green line, put him here, and copy him up 11 times.
How far up was the mortar joint?
3/8 of an inch. And when you copy, you're going to go green to green to green to green. Be careful. If you accidentally snap to the gray, you're going to get too tall. And I only want 11 courses. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Do that. And I'm going to go answer Oral's question. Okay, so either the two little triangles or type MI for mirror. Enter. Whoops, it's not coming up. MI. Must be in the middle of something. MI. Okay, so first of all, when I type MI, he asks, what do you want to mirror? Select your objects. I don't want to mirror the footing. I just want to mirror these guys right here. So I'm going to use my blue crossing window. So it's only going to take what's totally inside my box. And now I hit enter. And now I'm going to zoom out. And my mirror point is this right here. So I need that midpoint or that triangle up here. If you're not getting the triangle, go back down here to your O snaps and make sure midpoint is turned on. So there's the first part of my mirror line. And now when I draw it down, you can see my buddy, his cousin, wants to snap right into place. And it says erase the source object, which is this. Nope, I like that one. Now I've got my second basement wall in. We're going to now put our slab, our concrete slab in, and that's just a rectangle. So I'm going to go up here to rectangle, and I'm going to grab corner to corner. And you can, I'm on the wrong layer. Okay. Oh, here's a good teachable moment, because you can see my slab. I wanted it to be green and it's coming in gray, and that's because I'm back on my A section very fine layer. I can either select this and then move it this way by switching it around, or I can match properties, which is either this button, or I type MA for match properties. I select something on the source layer, which is the good layer, so I'm going to pick any one of these blocks. And now I'm going to paint the thing that's on the wrong layer, and there it switched. I use that match properties 1,000 times a day. So let's put in this foundation. So let's take this line. You can either copy one of these guys or draw a whole new line from the outside of your foundation all the way down here. Oh, I got to switch layers. Here's another one. I can either switch layers by just coming up here, going to the down layer, and finding the one I want to go to, or where's make current? This one right underneath here, the top one with the little ball on top. If I select make current, he says select an object whose layer you want to be current. I pick that, and now it's already switched to A section medium. So that's a quick way. And now I need to change this one, so I'm going to type MA for match properties, pick a good one, paint the bad one. I'm going to jump back to my handout for a second and give you a piece of information you do not know. So we're drawing this one now. He is a crawl space, so he's shorter than this guy. The top of that footing is 4 foot 11.5 inches down. So you're going to take that first line we drew, offset it down 4 foot 11.5, and we're going to put our new footing in there. So go ahead and write down 4 foot 11.5 because I'm going to turn off this drawing and forget that number in a minute. I'm going to go back here, offset 4 foot 11.5, offset, and there it is. Now, so this is going to be the top of this footing. I'm going to copy this footing up, put it right there. CO for copy. I'm going to zoom in. And now I don't even have to worry about the moving it. I'm just going to grab this corner point right here. I want this exact one below my little gray line, that to be that. And I'm going to jump to my other drawing for a second. How many? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 concrete blocks. So I am going to copy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can go from the bottom if I want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So CO for copy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can pick any relevant base point I want. I'm going to pick the lower right corner of this footing. So I'm going to move these 6 blocks, copy them from that point to that point, and now I've got that guy done. Oh, where did my, I forgot my gray lines, so my mortar joints, so I'll have to go back and get those. I can either do that same copy maneuver and bring them and copy them with me, or I can just undo and redo the process I did before, but remember to select them. I don't know why they didn't come along. There, now I got my mortar joints. Now's a really good time to save. We're going to do, we're going to put our sill plate on the top. So one last piece of work before the contractor takes off for lunch and you guys leave class. This sill plate on the top is right here. Let's go to this one. These 3 details are similar but not exactly the same. So this is the sill plate. He is a 2x6. So I am going to, and a 2x6 is actually 5.5 by 1.5. And so I'm going to go off to the side of the yard. Somewhere over here, I'm going to type REC for rectangle. Pick a point, drag my hand, type 5.5, tab 1.5, 5.5 inches by 1.5. And I'm going to move him into place. He goes on the green line side. He goes towards the outside. And now I'm going to copy him because he also goes over here. CO for copy. Make sure you do not have a mortar joint above this top one. There is no mortar joint there. It's right there. That one goes, but there's not one there. So there's my 2x6. And I got one last 2x6. I'm going to copy this guy and put him over there. And then I'll stop talking for the day. There we go. Save. All right.